During Nigeria's 2015 presidential election campaign, the then candidate of the All Progressives Congress (APC), the current ruling political party, preached a message of change. It was a message also pledged by what was then a new party, and it resonated with most Nigerians. Muhammadu Buhari pledged to tackle insecurity, improve the economy, and fight corruption. 3 years on, has Muhammadu Buhari delivered change as promised?
Until the end of December last year, if you ask anybody what are the achievements of President Buhari, the first thing that they will mention is the issue of security. Everybody acknowledged the fact that he has succeeded in the area of security. On the ground, 2015, out of 27 local governments in Borno State, 13 were controlled by Boko Haram. There was no Nigerian government in that place. The local government chairman all ran away. There was nobody there. But today, there is no single local government under the control of Boko Haram.
I think as far as the economy is concerned, change is definitely here. And why do I say so? If you look at the direction this economy, indeed this nation, had been travelling in previously, really very much dependent upon oil. So when oil price was high, Nigerians felt fantastic. Oil price collapses, Nigerians are miserable, and we found ourselves in recession. And we came into office at a really tough time. We'd had oil prices as high as 140. You would expect that in that period when things were good, you'd see improvement in roads, you'd see improvement in power, you'd see improvement in rail. But what actually happened was a lot of money got stolen, a lot of money got wasted, and there really wasn't much to show for the boom period. We came in and the oil price went down to 28, and we found things very difficult. But we're very focused around what changes needed to be made in the economy. One was that we needed to invest in our infrastructure. No country had grown doing what we were doing. So by the time we came in, only 10% of our spending was on infrastructure. We immediately increased it to 30. When we came in 2015, for the whole year, for the whole country, we spent 19 billion on roads, which is nothing when you consider our road network. In 1 year, we'd increase that to over 284 billion. So that's a sort of step change that you've seen in the way we have focused the economy. And why have we focused on infrastructure? Because really those are the things that will drive growth. It is power, it is rail, it is roads, it is water, it is housing. These are the things that make the economy conducive for investment. Those investments create jobs. Those jobs create wealth and create livelihoods for our people, improve our standard of living, and improve the wealth of the nation. So that was the focus of this government, alongside all the other things which you've talked about: fighting corruption, improving security. But on the economic front, we just had to change our focus from being reliant on oil and just spending the oil proceeds to actually converting that oil wealth into real wealth for our people.
Absolutely. The administration has delivered on change and is delivering on change, because change is going to continue. The economy is actually performing very well. All the key indices, inflation is coming down, foreign reserves are going up, and if you look at things like growth, the economy is growing at an increasing pace. If you look at things like the stock markets, that measure sort of how companies are doing, Nigeria was one of the top performing stock markets in the world last year, and that trend has continued into 2018. Now, there's no question we went through a bad patch, but there's also no question that we have responded to the crisis in a way that, like the saying goes, a crisis is too good an opportunity to waste. We did not waste the crisis. We did not waste the recession. And I think the benefits will continue to show in a way that people will accept that Nigeria actually, for the first time, is implementing a robust diversification agenda that is working, in terms of industrialization, in terms of attracting investments, in terms of robust trade with our neighbors, as well as trading in a way that is good for Nigeria and promotes the well-being of Nigerians and promotes investment in Nigeria and value adding in Nigeria. Our Buy Nigeria initiative, which is the idea of encouraging local production, is also working. I'm sure you know that Executive Order 3 deals with government procurement to say that 40% of what we procure, goods and services, must be locally made. We have never had anything like that before. So I think there is just a raft of initiatives that we have undertaken as a government.
The administration has lived up to his promise. To commend this administration for giving us a diversified economy.
Oh, definitely. So much has changed in the country. If it is the economy, we have done far more than our opponents are willing to concede to us. This country has recorded significant growth in terms of solid minerals, development, agriculture has grown. Look at what we have done with the ease of doing business and the ranking that this country has grown. We are in the top 10 reforming economies of the world as recorded by the World Bank. As it is now, a serious investor can fly into the country with a briefcase with no prior acquisition of visas, would get visas on arrival as they land at our own airports. And all of these things are manifesting in the huge volumes of investment that are doing into the country.
Of course, we have noticed massive changes. There's a huge movement from the tendency of the past to the tendencies that this government have tried to instill in all of us. People are no longer expecting that there should be free money flowing from government that they've not worked for. We want to instill a culture of discipline, a culture of hard work, a culture of earning especially what you work for. That is the kind of culture that this government is trying to instill. He tried to pick the most competent people he thought, whether they were from the opposition, whether they were not party members, and it angered a lot of party members. You heard a lot of party members shouting and screaming, the man has abandoned us. How can you go and pick people from PDP? How can you go and pick people from opposition to be ministers, to be this? But hey, that is the kind of president we wanted, and we got it. A man who can have a bird's eye view of everything and say, look, I will run a lean, efficient government. I don't want to share government process as if we've just won some kind of war, and then we have to share the spoils of war. So that kind of mentality has changed. Like the vice president said, this kind of humongous corruption, where you just dip hand in the treasury, you bring out 3 billion. You dip hand in the treasury, bring out 100 billion. Indiscriminate grand corruption is over. That is the first change we are seeing.